10 years ago, I was probably, I mean, I was already playing, so just a little, very, very unprofessional, but I was probably buying Toolroom Records on vinyl or something, or producing actually already in my bedroom. So I was already really involved with music. I discovered dance music actually through some friends of mine. Actually, I had one friend that was really into acid house back then, and he had like two turntables at home, and you know, he showed me how it was done, and he took me to like one of the first raves, or you know, house parties I ever went to. And actually after the first time I was completely, you know, sold. I just loved it so much. So, and because before that I was more into hip-hop, but actually after my first party I was kind of like, okay, I do not want to do anything else. I'm not sure if my hometown influenced me so much, because you know, I'm originally from Utrecht. I think it did, because you know, Utrecht is about, you know, 20 minutes away from Amsterdam, and we kind of missed out on everything a little bit, because most of the, you know, the events and everything went to Amsterdam. So I think it kind of gave you a good work attitude, you know, because in Utrecht you just had to work harder to get things done and to get parties going and everything. So I think in that way, like, my work ethics are partly from the city as well. Well, actually my relationship with the Toolroom Mark Knight is quite significant, I think, for my career, because they were actually the first label that signed my first ever international track, which was before Puchenza for Detroit. The track was called Just Trippin'. And actually they also gave me my first international gig, because I played with Mark at a Ministry of Sound back then. They had their own night. And actually, you know, we kind of had a good click from the first start, and you know, we've been friends ever since, which is great. That's a good question, actually, because I mean I think what really characterized my production is, I think it's all kind of different things. I'm not really a producer that, you know, just uses the same 5 sounds you know, the rest of my life or whatever. It's more a certain love I have for a certain groove, certain kind of percussion. I always try to, I most of the time have some natural element like piano or strings, or combined with modern sound. So I think it's mostly, the combination of things that I do. I think that's what characterizes my productions the most. I mean, the balance between underground and commercial stuff, I think I have that mostly because I don't really think about it. You know, I just do what I think is cool, and sometimes you know, it sometimes even, you know, beyond my own expectations, but it turns out to be more commercial than I initially thought. I mean, same with Puchenza for Detroit. I always thought that would be, you know, a club record. I mean, same thing for So Much Love. I actually expected that to be just in clubs as well. But so I never bother myself with you know, I have to do something that's popular or whatever. You know, I think you get influenced by the scene enough just by being in it all the time. So I just kind of basically do what I think is cool and fits the record, and kind of go from there. So, you know, sometimes it crosses over and sometimes it doesn't. But to be honest, the most important thing for me always is that it works on my dance floor, and that's the only measurement I take, actually. The record I'm most proud of making, that's always a very hard question to answer. And, you know, I mean, in my case, usually it's the record that I still have to make, because, you know, you evolve hopefully, and you learn something every record. So I'm usually more proud of, you know, the record I'm in the process of making, because, you know, you try to put in all your all the things you've learned into that record. But from the past, I would probably say I'm still very proud of my Coldplay remix, just because it was, you know, such an honor to do, and I think it turned out great. You know, I mean, sometimes just things come together, and I think that's really the case with that record. You know, I was already so honored that they asked me, you know, I was even more honored that they approved of the remix just in one go, and you know, it did great. It still does great on dance floor, so I think that's definitely one of my favorites. Yeah, and actually also Amplifier is one of my favorites, because it's such a, you know, I managed to keep the record so simple but still interesting. My fans, I actually think that my fans are the most important thing in general, because, you know, you know, the way I see it is just very simple. If you don't have fans, you have no existence, you know, especially as an artist. I mean, they are the people that appreciate you. You know, the only thing I can do is put things out there that I think are great with my musical view, but they make sure that I'm able to, you know, play everywhere, do fun stuff on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. So they are kind of the engine of this whole operation. So I think they're the most important in general. Yeah.